Hello everybody, welcome to Zambrella's casting tutorial, episode number 3. Man, how time flies. And now that we've gone through the slightly less interesting stuff of what is a caster and how to get yourself set up, we can actually get into the nitty gritty of learning how to cast competitive esport games. And like I said in episode 1, your purpose as a caster is to inform and entertain an audience on a game or a match or a series. And this episode will be about the inform part, so the first of the two, inform and explain, entertain even, inform and entertain. And I've been thinking long and hard about how to approach this, as there's so much to cover, but I think I've decided chronologically is the best. So this episode is going to be about informing during the intro and the draft. So obviously this kind of more applies to MOBAs such as League of Legends and Dota 2. So even before the games begin, it is almost always the caster's job to introduce the game, unless you're lucky enough to have a panel to host it for you. So this is fairly self-explanatory and seems simple, but it is very important. Your audience and viewers won't necessarily know what the game is and who's playing, as in like the specific game. They'll know it's Dota 2 or whatever it is, and maybe they've just got home from work and they missed the previous game. And I'm going to keep coming back to this, but throughout sort of like the next few episodes is you are narrating a story, and every story has a beginning. In terms of when to do the introduction, I would recommend as the game is loading in or the beginning part of the draft. At least I know this. There's drafting in Dota 2 LOL. I would also highly recommend not starting before these players are loading in, as sometimes there are connection issues or sudden pauses before the games start. You know, it's like, are you guys all ready to play? Yeah, but then suddenly something comes up, someone's pizza has arrived or something like that. And you don't really want to be left introducing the game for 10 minutes or something while that doesn't happen, while someone loads in or whatever. I don't have any experience with other games, so you'll have to decide on your own, but definitely leave enough time. So you want to leave enough time to talk about maybe the previous game or possibly previous times that the teams have matched up. And the other major thing, don't forget to introduce yourself as well. So I got some points here, some of the main points: what the teams, what stage of the tournament, how many games, what map, if it's CSGO, or is it the second game, and any previous games or matches. And with those things in mind, you can, this is a little introduction I just rumbled up out of nowhere. So you'd be like, hello and welcome to Tournament Zambrella. We're about to start game number 2 between Team X and Team Y in a best of 3 showdown, with Team X taking game 1 in a real nail-biter of a game. I'm Umbrella, joined by Zambrella, and let's get into the draft. So that was pretty short and sweet. I think it's perfectly okay to elaborate a bit more if you want to and where you feel necessary. However, don't go overboard. You're about to start a new game, and major analysis of the previous game should be left for that game specifically. So don't talk too much about the last game. So that's the introductions out of the way. Let's move on to the draft. And with the introduction, this obviously doesn't really apply to non-MOBA games. However, as far as I'm aware, there's still likely to be some waiting time in terms of like CSGO and time you could talk about the strategy. So I think you could talk, these are sort of analogous in that way, but the draft, it can seem a little daunting at first, especially if you're less experienced at Dota or you don't watch many pro games. But it's the caster's job to explain the picks and bans and possibly theorycraft about future picks or bans that's going to happen in the game. Don't be afraid to elaborate on any specific hero-hero synergies and why it will work well. I would also recommend trying to time the introduction like I was talking about before, so you finish as the first set of bans and possibly the first couple of picks have been done as well. Otherwise you end up trying to talk about the first bans, which it's usually very self-explanatory anyway, and it's not really pointless. So you want it to all move and move together nicely in sort of a smooth manner. Unfortunately though, to be honest, there's not much I can actually teach you in terms of the draft, because although it's this kind of, arguably it's the same structure every time, a lot of it just comes down to playing and experience and understanding of the game. What's the current meta like? What are strong heroes? And you can, of course, spend time analyzing drafts, learn what common picks are in this meta, common bans as well, and also the teams you're casting, like what are their favorite heroes. That's kind of research and sort of little tricks you can do. Other little tips I'd give you is just have a list of all the heroes in front of you. If you've got 2 monitors, then that's great. If you've got a laptop, bring it up on there. If not, then have them print out a sheet. It's so handy. So you're there sitting like, oh, I know there's this really good hero that'd be great, and you can just like, if you can skim through, look at all the heroes, or if not all the heroes, the most popular picks and bans of this meta. It's a really quick and easy way to think about what might be coming up and picks like that. So it's, I actually wanted to keep these episodes fairly short, down to 5 minutes. I know about 5 minutes anyway. I know episode 2 went on for quite a while, but I wouldn't really want to. Hopefully that won't happen too long. Happen again anyway. And yeah, here ends another episode. The summary today is pretty easy, simple really. You're creating a story, and every story needs a beginning. And it's the beginning is what draws people in. You're never going to pick up a book with a boring beginning. So you got to make sure that your introductions are on point. They're pretty easy to nail down once you've got it and you've got into the swings of things, but do take some time to nail it down. Go through all those things that I mentioned before. And so next episode we can actually talk about casting the game. We've done the introduction, the beginning. We can now go into the middle part of the story, you will, that you're going to be describing, and that is the game. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Man, this has actually gone through pretty quickly. As always, I'd appreciate any feedback on the series, of the structure. Do you like the presentation style? Would you like to see more examples, like the quotes I did, or like proper video clips of when I've done some casting or other people have done some casting? And if you did enjoy it, do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe as well. I'm Zambrella, and I'll see you guys next time.